know it's Friday all day, every day, not all day, but it's the summertime. But today we're talking about heat affecting EV batteries, consumers ditching in-car infotainment, and actors that ain't playing.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I am.
We just had a really sweet little interaction. So on Fridays, we kind of always are coming in hot because we go right into the All Things Used Car Clubhouse room at 9 Eastern. And, you know, we're like getting the week wrapped and we're communicating, talking about all these things going on. And I dropped in to the live stream here. I'm like, all right, boys, ready to go. Coming in hot today. And Kyle was like, hey, I just locked another speaker for ASOTU from a public, one of the publics. And our rooftop count represented in just our first batch of speakers is almost 1,000.
Tell them about it, Paul.
Almost 1,000.
This is what's cool. One, we've got, we just like our goal in bringing speakers to ASOTU, and not just speakers, but attendees and everybody, is to bridge a really, really large gap between the largest automakers, the largest industry partners, and the up and comers, the ones that are maybe single rooftops or smaller groups or you know, early stage software companies. And like, how do we make sure that everybody's in the conversation consistently, giving feedback, giving encouragement, insights, understanding based on exactly where they're at, right? Because like a public group is going to operate a lot differently in a lot of things than maybe a two-store group. And so we want to bring each of those insights. And so we've got 30 different panels and mini keynotes, a bunch of different main stage stuff, all spread across a complete 2 days, ending with Jesse Cole, the owner of the Savannah Bananas, on the second night, and a full tilt party with Nashville's hottest party band, 12 South, at the end of the second night. So make sure you fly out on Thursday and not on Wednesday night, because you ain't gonna miss that.
Gonna go late Wednesday night. Hey, look, we know it's a long time away. In the summer, it feels like it's a long time away, but you should really get your tickets if you're planning on going now at ASOTUcon.com, because it's gonna go up. And right now you're not thinking about it, but you also don't tell anybody. You want to get your tickets early so you can get a room in the main hotel. We only have 200 rooms in the main hotel, just the majority of the hotel, and it's going to sell out. That's going to sell out fast. So now's the time to get it if you want to be with all the stuff. And it's going to be a pretty amazing thing. Oh man, I want to say so much today, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time.
We don't have
I got to say one more thing.
Do it.
Adrian, I'm going to put her comment up on the live stream. You got to check her out. Adrian Gibbs on LinkedIn celebrated 1 year in the auto industry yesterday. And like, she's been a kind of a new member of the ASOTU community. And I was reading through the comments and people just wishing her well. And man, this is the only industry where you got people like Ed Roberts in Adrian's comments being like, oh, welcome, congratulations. Like that's the kind of connection that happens around real community. And it was also fun to see all the comments in there are in like my first level network, just knowing like these are our people. Like our people have welcomed this newcomer into the industry and are celebrating it, which is kind of what it's all about. Let's get into some news, because it's going to be a rocket ship today with so much of the U.S., many other parts of the world, Europe, and all those experiencing a significant heat wave. New study released by Recurrent revealed that extreme heat is significantly reducing the driving range of EVs. It was the cold a few months ago, and now it's the heat, with some people experiencing as much as a 31% drop in battery range.
What?
I don't know if that's worse than the cold, but it almost seems like
that's nuts.
So here's how it breaks down. Temperatures of over 100 degrees seem to be like a major strike point when it really starts to drop. But over 90 degrees, you get a 5% reduction. Over 80 degrees, you get about a 3% reduction. And this analysis was based on 1,700 vehicle data sets, including 65 different models of both EVs and hybrids. You know, forget about that, but a plug-in hybrid is going to be affected quite a bit as well, with Tesla models unsurprisingly showing the least amount of range degradation. That is likely due to the fact that they use more efficient heat pumps to cool the cabin instead of like condensers, compressors, and AC units. One last little point here before we jam on it. Greg Less, the technical director of the University of Michigan Battery Lab, explained the degradation in range under extreme heat conditions is fundamentally linked to the chemistry of the battery. And he quotes,
all right,
once you're
with them. Here we go.
Once you're above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, you start to have breakdown of the passive emission layer on the anode. That breakdown then causes consumption of the liquid electrolyte and shortens the lifetime of your battery. In short,
oh boy,
stay out of Arizona in the summer.
stay out of Arizona and the desert areas of Texas. Yeah, I mean the good news,
Italy.
like, yeah, what's that?
I said Italy these days. It's hot.
You
there.
know, yeah, you know, the good news is like most of the country is not going to suffer heat over 90 degrees the majority of the summer. And so a 2.8 reduction, like nothing to write home about, in my opinion.
No.
And I think this is just going to be something that automakers are going to figure out. They're going to watch Tesla, see how they're constructing the rest of the vehicle, because it's not just about recreating the battery. It's like ground up. The way that the battery interacts with all of the microservices, not just the drivetrain of the vehicle. And so I think we're going to see a lot of different like changes over the next few years, just to make sure that in those high 105, 110, 120 degree heats that you get sometimes, and even in the extreme cold, like you get in the north where you're at, that you won't have as much a problem with this. So it's a red flag a little bit, but I would call it more of a yellow flag.
We're going to figure it out. Speaking of figuring things out or not.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
This one feels like a merry-go-round that every
My
year there's a
wheelhouse.
hand sticking out of the merry-go-round and it just slaps us in the face once a year. Growing dissatisfaction with complex car infotainment systems has resulted in the first ever consecutive yearly decline in owner satisfaction ever. It's never gone down 2 years in a row, according to JD Power's appeal study, as even more drivers are opting for smartphone mirroring systems like Apple CarPlay, GM, and Android Auto over built-in controls. So now only 56% of owners prefer to use their car's built-in infotainment system, down from 70% in 2020. They seem to be, here's an interesting fact, they seem to be more accepting of native car operating systems if they're built on Android Auto, right? So like the cars that are developing on the Android automotive platform. However,
because nobody's developing on the Apple platform currently. So like,
yep,
it makes sense because you've got people that are going, yes, obviously Google's operating system, if native, is...
Well, here's the deal. So like they can build on the Android system. However, there are some of those where Google apps and stuff aren't built into the platform. It's just built on the Android infrastructure. And when that's the case, when the Google stuff isn't bundled in, it's lower than every other one.
Of course. Why would
like,
you?
What else do I need it for? Right.
This is, man. You had to get me fired up on a Friday morning. I read that this story was in there, and I read it yesterday when it came out. And it's like, here's the thing. When vehicles are becoming software, either you've got to hire a whole new development team that comes from outside the automotive vertical that understands how to integrate, because the beauty of the App Store, both in the Google Play Store and in the Apple App Store, is that it's interconnected to everything that you would want to do. And integrating that and the data and all your resources and everything else that you do in life into the OS is extremely important. And speed is the biggest importance. And the problem with the majority of operating systems is they're just not fast. Like tap to response
time.
The latency is insane. And so, yes, when you go to the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto actual apps integrated, it just works.
It just works. Speaking of working,
hey,
Segue.
Or not working, we're really moving today.
Yeah. Hollywood's latest strike in 60, largest strike in 60 years. Sorry, not latest, because they've had a couple since there. Both actors and writers have halted work, revealing the divide between traditional entertainment companies and streaming giants like Netflix. The conflict stems from the industry's major move from TV to a streaming industry, with unions pushing for practices from the older model to be continued, like the way that revenue streams are done and the way that shows are built. Many of the new wave streaming companies like Netflix, Disney, and Amazon already have backfills of new content that are going to allow them to go deeper into this strike and hold off on negotiations. And they've already started to threaten toward that end. Like, yo, we're good over here. We've got the backfill of content. But TV networks who rely on just-in-time style writing and acting don't have that hopper and are already planning a bunch of show reruns or international programming coming into their network. So massive massive
here's
change
how this-
in the way that people.
So people were real actors. They were really excited when Netflix worked for Netflix productions because it was only 10 episode seasons versus like a TV, which would be like 22 episodes. And this is just a classic example of what happens when an industry is disrupted by new things. Very applicable to where automotive is right now. Be very leery of like wanting to go back to the old days, because as we move forward, the old days are no longer a possibility. So in automotive, you think of all the transition happened, like, let's not try to go back to the way it was. Let's actually work together to understand and develop the way it can be and the way it should be and move in that direction. I know that was a fire hydrant of a show, but we're heading over to Clubhouse for the All Things Used Car Clubhouse room with David Long. We're talking about pricing used cars. It's kind of a big topic right now.